Yes, Samir, you can start at 10 minutes past 4, maybe another
Yeah,
minute from now. Yeah, please.
yeah, yes, Chintan, and hello, hello everyone. Good evening. Uh, and in fact, I am logging from Bangalore. This is a wonderful afternoon outside. I hope this is same for everyone. And thanks Chintan to set up this call. And this is in fact should not be a monologue. It will be monologues. So during this course for the evolution of the 5G, we can have more insights from contribution from everyone. Thank you. What I can just see from is Kishore sir, Suresh, Ganesh, um, uh, Kanwal, and Ojas. So these are actually the persons. So let's start. So in the meantime, maybe some of our friends might join. Let me just share my screen, and once it is visible, please just let me know. Mm, just see if it is visible. My screen is visible. Just please do let me know.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is visible now. Okay. Thanks. So our basically today's discussion is the evolutions of wireless, and in fact, actually, our industry to 5G. So just before taking you through the wireless, if you can allow me to give 2 minutes, whatever I am just sharing. This is the screen for this Internet of Thing. I have presented this a couple of months before to our internal customers. And probably I can give you more insight why I have shown this. This is basically the Internet of Thing, and we have many structures for this architecture level. So it is starting with hardware, which start from the sensors, actuators, and many other processors and devices. The others are communication level. In the communication level, we have short range bandwidth, we have long range bandwidth, and we have in licensed spectrum as well as in the unlicensed spectrum. So coming to this software level, then we have actually made many middle database. We have analytics. We have actually the robust other systems like artificial intelligence to give us the summary of what we are just doing, and then the end users. So end users are basically for the use cases which come to the which maybe business to business, business to consumer, and now these people are calling at business to consumer, and so on. So you can see home, lifestyle, health. These are actually the whenever we say home, it is e-home or smart homes. Then smart wearables, smart healthcare, and everywhere you can just put actually the smart. So it is now we consider those as actually the smart system. So the evolution, it has started from the machine to machine transfer. Whenever we said around 10 years before, it was there. And then whenever with the evolutions of little bit of internet penetrations and electronics, so we call it as E, like e-waste, e-home, and e-governance. Everywhere we have started to put actually the E. And now we have started to put the terms called smart. So whenever the journey from our home to e-home to a smart home, so this is basically the journey that are all due to the smartness of our connectivity medium. So the purpose of this I have shown, because without connectivity we are nothing. And here in the world, whenever we have evolved from 2G to 3G and 3G to 4G, so we are basically connected humans. We are all mobile subscribers. But whenever we are just thinking way ahead, like for 4.5G we are calling, because LTE is basically called as 4G, And whenever it has started to 5G, so there are many intermediate stages. So those are the LTE advanced and the LTE Pro advanced, so which we call it as 4.5G. Before moving to the 5G NR system as well as the robust 5G system. So in this particular slide, I would like to emphasize more on this communication level. So the communications in licensed spectrum and communications in the unlicensed spectrum. So these particular layers we'll be discussing more while covering this topic. So our topic for today is basically the evolution to the 5G. And yes, I hope you can see my see the next slide now. So it is basically we are moving towards evolution for the 5G, and they are where actually the connectivity mediums due to this evolution of this Internet of Thing. So everything, the connectivity, it is just converging.
Unless it
It
is
is just
important,
converging,
I'll tell you
and
the topic.
we say from the connectivity convergence to connected home. So it is basically now and onward, we call it is as connected world. So all the humans through the mobile subscriptions, they were connected. But whenever the humans are connecting through the things like machine to machine, so it is the connected world. So people, they have expected, anticipated that there will be 50 billions of devices to be connected by 2020. They have projected this in 2010, but which actually it is not happening. But it is a kind of actually we are moving and we are going towards that. So here I would like actually to go through give
Hey,
you, because you
wait a
people are
minute.
mostly technical peoples, and so many managerial peoples managements. So technology and management people combined together. So this is called the uh, technology management innovations. So here, just my little actually 2 cents here. I have just given a flavors of the business and creating the connectivity and this evolution of the 5G science towards a kind of business impact. In fact, actually, the report should be called a business impact report. But here, we are just approaching towards that, and I'll be taking the feedback from each one of you to make it as a complete one. So with your permission, just moving to the next slides. So these are some of these points we would be touching upon, but exactly might not be the sequences. So that's the reason I have put it as a discussion board. So here we'll be discussing the various ways and means of connectivity and how it is converged whenever we are going towards the 5G. The pastel strategy, because in the management we have definitely gone through many strategy from porters, five forces, then there are many business models, but here we'll be touching upon the pastel stands for political, economic, social, technology, legal, and environmental strategy. So here we'll be just discussing while, I mean, we'll applying this principle in our talk, in our discussion today. And of course, we'll be discussing about the spectrums, its characteristics, its utilization in the world and across the world. Who are the standards and the regulation body governing these wireless standards, whether it is for the 2G, 3G, and 4G, and all the standards. Then yes, while discussing, then where is our pie? Basically, we are the entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs or entrepreneurs. So where our pie is there while doing this discussion on evolution of the 5G. And of course, actually what basically the consumers need for the connected worlds. And of course, we'll just summarize at the last that what we have discussed. With this, let me actually start for this pastel model. I hope it is visible. All my screen is visible to everyone. Sorry actually to disturb, but is it possible, Kishoranna? It is possible
Yes,
actually. You can
I
see.
can see. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I hope then everyone, because here in my screen, a lot of your videos and all the things it is coming. So I am just checking whether it is really my presentation is visible to you or not. Okay, so let's go through what is basically this pastel. This is the political, economics, legal, technology, environment, and social. So this is a very basic form of strategy, and we'll be discussing like what is the political of the spectrum, and whenever we are moving towards the evolution. So I'll be just going touching one by one. So in my next thing, so it will be we'll be just discussing a couple of slides on the politics of the political landscape of the 5G evolution and all the generation. So here, basically, these are the spectrum used in the world. Particularly and purposefully, I have not shown the spectrum used for 2G and 3G, but I have given it for the 4G and onward. So if you see, particularly, we are basically from the India, and in India, we are using 800 bands, 1800 bands, and somewhere we are using 2300 bands. And we are doing it in FDD mode and TDD mode. FDD is a frequency duplex, and TDD is a time duplex division methods. So whenever we have moved towards the LTE 4G and the 5G, so this basically two characteristics it has formed, and because particularly in our Asia and China and all these markets, due to the scarcity of this spectrum, so the standard body they have developed that, okay, so TDD should be also one standard. So here, if you see all across, then I'm just touching upon whatever it is in the America, which is governed by the FCC, Federal Corporations, and they have FDD and TDD landscapes. And in Europe, if you have seen that it is again 450, 800, and 900 megahertz, 18 and 2100 megahertz, 2600 megahertz. And in fact, basically, my practice area is majorly from the Europe, and all those bands are used for 3G and 4G spectrum. Uh, then see for the China, they are using 800, 1800, 2100. And for the TDD, they are using 1900, 2.6, 2.5, 2.6 again. So here we have, and going to the further southeast, it is Australia. Australia, so almost if you see, mostly the 700, 800, and 900 bands, those are basically used for the 2G. And in fact, some people, they have refarmed this spectrum to use 3G and 4G. So, and yes, there are 1800 band cellular brand. It has been also used. So, and also we have gone further 2.3 and 2.6 for the 4G. So this is basically the current scenario of the spectrum utilization for the 4G. So, so our next thing, whenever we are evolving for 4.5G, like for LTE Advanced or LTE Advanced Pro and 5G, then where will be our spectrum, and who will provide us the spectrum? So it is basically, this is in a nutshell of what spectrum it is in the world it is being used, and what spectrum it is still free. If you see here, then we have 24 to 28 gigahertz. It is mostly free all across the regions. And if you see again, 37 to 40 gigahertz, it is somewhat free. Then it is actually the farther away, 64 to 71 gigahertz. So it is free. And again, if you see, then 3 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. So those are also in fact actually free. So our cellular brand, whatever it is in the current use, it is less than 1 gigahertz. And then presently somewhere it is used 2.5 to 2.6 for the LTE. So whenever we are aiming for the next phases of evolution for 5G or maybe 4. I mean LTE advanced, then we can target for like these gigahertz spots. So giving you a small history of the evolution. So there are two basic body who are majorly govern these standards. So that is the 3GPP, the partner, I mean, third generation partnership program. So they develop actually the releases of 3G, 4G, and 5G. So, and maybe actually, of course, there are several subsections of it where they have like which spectrum particularly it need to be used, because whenever we are particularly using this spectrum, it will affect the entire landscape. It is not that the manufacturer, the OEM, they will be also doing, because during the manufacturing they will be doing a whole lot of devices for like BTS, E node B, and now for the 5G they call it a G node B. So when so the manufacturing processes will be very easier, as well as the handset whatever it will be supporting, like, or maybe the modules. Just in the next 2-3 slides I'll be describing what are basically the industry targeted for 5G. So the industry targeted for the 5G are more things, because in the 4G whatever the required amount of speed for the mobility we have already got. So it is whenever we are thinking future, it is mostly the machines. So whenever we are saying for the mostly machines, so the communication model need to be manufactured by different manufacturers. So that is the reason this spectrum characteristic and defining is very much important. So 2.24 to 28 gigahertz, those are basically the people around the world they are targeting for the 5G. And this particular segment they are calling this wavelength it as millimeter wave. I mean, as a common principle, if you have seen, the lesser is the frequency, like 450 megahertz and 800, 900 megahertz, where the wavelengths are very high. So, and in comparison to 1900 and 2600, the wavelengths are less. But so, in that case, like if you are using, I mean, very thumb rule of principle, if you are using a BTS type with 450 megahertz, then you require maybe to cover Bangalore, you require probably 100 sites, because the propagation is very high and there will be absolutely very less propagation loss, and it has a the coverage radius, the cell radius will be very high because it is lesser frequency. And whenever you are just coming up to the higher frequency like 1800 or 1900, probably you need a double amount of the sizes. And similarly, whenever you are targeting for 24 to 28 gigahertz, so those are called millimeter waves. It has its own characteristics, but people they have started, and the standardization body they have started incorporating this and in their like manufacturer, and they have started preparing the standards. In fact, it is still not finalized, and many industry body and OEMs like such as Intel, Qualcomm, and other OEMs, telecom OEMs like Ericsson, Huawei, ZTE, and all those vendors, Samsung, and along with the operators like China, who are very active in the 5G trials. Those are China Telecom, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, Telefonica, and in fact, South Korea Telecom, those are very actually proactives in the network segments, in the network evolution segments, and they have joined hands in defining the standards. Very recently, if you have seen in India scenario, Bharti Airtel, they have done they have collaborated with South Korea Telecom, SK Telecom, plus Ericsson. I'm forgetting the other name. So they have collaborated for 3 industry bodies for 5G trials here. So it is a very nascent stages, in fact, for the India. So this is basically, I am just trying to cover the political in the pastel frameworks. And coming to, there are different bodies. So the FCC, it is for the US. So they have different characteristics of this. And in fact, why I'm just showing this, if you like, there is a mid band CBRS, Citizen Broadband Radio Service. So this is basically the Qualcomm is proposing and in fact lobbying to get this 3.5 gigahertz spectrum here. So they have done trial for Verizon as well as AT&T. So they are trying, like in this band also, they are trying to form one standards for the 5G. But majorly the 5Gs are 24 to 28 gigahertz at the moment. Okay, so this is for the European Commissions, and you must have seen many trials it is happening for the 5G, and this is for the Europe. Here for the UK, particularly the markets where I'm working now. So the outcome they have given, they are just planning. And in fact, there is a bitter rivalry between, in the UK market, there are 4 or 5 operators are working. Everything everywhere, it has been acquired by the British Telecom, BT. So they have officially got the largest share of the spectrum. And the second, you can say in the in terms of subscriber wise, it is 3UK, like Hutchison. So they call it as 3UK at UK. So they have got the least bandwidth. So there is a bitter rivalry. 3UK is always complaining that why it has to be homogeneous. So that is a legal battle. So here I just try to emphasize that how the political landscape, whenever we are creating strategy, it is very much important. And so you can see here, and Spain, the Telefonica, that is also major operator. So they are very active in the standard defining the body. So this is for this Europe, and opening for this. This is for the Asian market, and very sad to see that the India is always missing from the regulatory body as well. Here I have seen many Economic Times study for the last 6 months I am going through. So they are telling that India will be the far ahead for the 5G, but wherever the sources are, whether it is from the GSMA, whether it is for the 3GPP, whether it is for the 5GPP, the world defining standards, India is always missing. And in fact, just we'll see, uh, being from the India, I always feel the one of the hollow that why actually India is missing in this. So maybe we can just see after this trial, we'll see actually how we can put a greater effort to put India in the 5G market as well. Here in the Asia, China is one of the biggest market, along with China and Korea. So this is some of their respective spectrums are there. Okay, so coming to the technology the technology framework for the pastel model. So there are various technology advancement and the disruption it is happening. See, I did not show intentionally, because 1G, 2G, 3G, you already know what is the speed. So in fact, in India, you must have seen most of the 3G that will be rolled out. So it will be rolled out to 4G and the 5G spaces. So we start actually from the 4G with 150 Mbps. The Cat4 means it is the UE, user equipment category 4. So this is 2 CC. Whenever we see, it is basically the 2 carriers. Here the carriers for the LTE, the carriers, the one spot it will be 10 megahertz whenever it is considered to get the 150 downlink speed. So whenever we aggregate the 2 carriers, we mix. So this method is called carrier aggregation. So 10 megahertz plus 10 megahertz, whenever we get 20 megahertz of spectrum, so we get 150 Mbps of speed with category, with user category 4. With the and you see that is whenever we are just doing carrier aggregation for the 2, we are getting 300 Mbps, and then 6 it is 450. And again, so I'll be just in the next slide, I'll be saying what is basically the carrier aggregations and the QAM. and then what is actually the MIMO. So see, with this technology and this combination, we have almost from the Ericsson, we have tested it for the Sprint as well as the Verizon. Last September, there was a Mobile World Congress. It is the smaller version for the US. So there we have tested these services with a massive MIMO for Verizon. So where we got it 1000 Mbps, like 1 Gbps. But you make sure to get, there are technology advancement where spectral efficiency, how we can use technology to get the spectral efficiency with the same price, and also at the same time to get the speed, the user should be accommodated with a particular category. Otherwise, the user cannot able to receive the full advancement. So this is at the moment, this is the target. And this 1 Gbps, we call it as 4.5G advancement in the LTE advance. And whenever we are moving towards the 4G, towards the 5G, so the first step is the gigabits, 1 Gbps, and the 5G will give 20 Gbps. So that is at the moment the characteristics. So this is actually a kind of journey from the 4G to 4.5 to 5G. With this, what is the characteristics for the technology? So here certain characteristics in the wireless technology. We have started with frequency division, multiple access, then time division, then from the CDMA as well as 3G WCDMA, we have used the code division multiple access. And for the 4G and WiMAX, we have used the orthogonal FDMA. And here, in fact, for the 5G, it is the same spacing, the same OFDMA principle it will be used, plus that the resource-based sharing division multiplex. So that still actually still it is the standard, it not done. So for the 5G, the standard it will be completed in 2018. So this is actually a technology advancement. And for the modulation, so we have the BPSK and the QPSK for the 2G, 3G, and QAM for the 4G. So this QAM, the quantification from the 16 QAM, 64, 256, and 1024. So that QAM, the modulation scheme will give better throughput to us. And also we have coding scheme, where we have actually the turbo coding, channel coding, LDPC, and with a mix of LDPC plus turbo coding, it is called hybrid. So for the 5G, so that is actually a kind of suggested coding scheme to get the more speed and throughput. Here, if you can see, so these are many revolutionary thing it is happening. I am not saying that it is for only for the 5G, but yes, these are the technology advancement. The telecom is moving more towards the IT. So the way, and whenever we are just moving, so it is the network function virtualization NFV, and software defined networks, the core and the networks part, it is just moving. We are defining from more hardware to more software centric. Network slicing, these are certain principles, like we can converge the wireline network, the fixed wireline, the wireless network 2G, 3G, and 4G, then machine to machine transfer, that networks along with the satellite, digital TV, and media, whatever, because the CSP, it will give, the network slicing will empower the operators to use, to converge all the network equipments towards one. So in one slice, you have logical entities where all these, like fixed, wireline, wireless, media, all those things will be putting in the place to give the access. This is more or less, yeah. Then whenever we are moving towards the 5G, due to our technology disruptions, we are moving morely, giving the spectral efficiency, where the cost for the GB, like if you see, The exact quantification I don't have, but if you see the cost per GB from the 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G, it has been multifold reduced. And whenever we are giving the rate free, like here in Indian scenario, you can see whenever the Geo, they have given the almost free services free to everyone. So during the free services, you must have seen the cost per GB is almost zero, right? Whenever they have given almost 1 year, more than 1 year of that service. So wherever people get free and almost the almost less price, so what they do, so they will be going for volume. And whenever they go for volume, so where you will store those things? So here, most of the network, you have to put them in the clouds. So that is the characteristics of this network function virtualization NFV. And so our traditional
We are unable to hear you.
Hello? Hello? Happens? No, it is coming. What happens? Yeah, hello? Okay, so you can hear me now? Ganesh, I think you have muted. So yeah, yes, okay. So shall I just carry on? Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Let me just share my screen again, just to the see it is visible now. I hope it is now visible.
Yes, it is visible now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Great. I really do not know what happened. So sorry for this trouble. So we have just discussed about this technology framework in the pastel model. So we have discussed about the access modulation and the coding schemes, plus whatever the revolutionary trend it is happening for this 5G, NFV, network function virtualization, software defined network slicing, clouds, and the backhauling, front hauling. So these are certain parts which all these network, the traditional network is becoming more IT. And in fact, actually, whenever we are moving towards the 5G, so it will be all IT. Okay, with this, these are just again the subset of whatever I have shared in the earlier slide. So MIMO, it is a antenna techniques, multiple input, multiple output. Where in the 4G we still using the 4 transmit and 4 receiving receiving standards. 4G the LTE advance, and to get the 1 Gbps speed, the 64T and 64R we have used. So in fact, whenever we are moving more numbers for the MIMO, so the antenna sizes is becoming very less. For the example, whenever we are saying 64T, 64R, that means in the antenna we are getting 64 streams, orthogonal streams, which are directed towards the user. So if we are not using MIMO in the same 100, let's say 10 megahertz spectrum, we are getting one stream. But whenever we are using the MIMO, like 44R or 6040, 64R, so we are getting 64 orthogonal streams. That means our spectral efficiency is more. And in fact, actually, we can cater more to number of users. So these are one technique. And in 5G, so we are expecting that we will be using 128 transmit and 128 receive powers with a smaller antenna unit. And this is for the coding scheme again. What we have discussed, it is 16 QAM 256, and in fact for the 5G, the standards, whatever the discussion it is happening. So it will be not only 1024 QAM, it will be 4096 QAM. So where we can get more throughput with the same spectrum. And this is carrier aggregation. So carrier aggregation is again, if we have a spectrum, then this is the next version of LTE advance. So where we can aggregate 10 carriers. So the 10 carriers with one carrier 100 megahertz each, it will give 1 gigahertz. So in fact, the trial has been complete for the three carrier aggregation of 20. So that means 60 megahertz. And still actually the trials and the standards, it is getting done for 5 and it will be done actually the 10. So whenever we are achieving more, because in the later spectrum, we have more bandwidth free. So in the more bandwidth, so we can get more carriers as aggregated. So whenever we are taking more spectrum, of course, we will be getting more throughput or more speed. And then advanced antenna system. It is again actually one form of like MIMO is one form of it. But smart antenna, whenever we say it will be directed, the beam width, it will be directed towards the users. And again, actually, whenever we are talking about the beam forming, so now the Qualcomm is talking about the beam switching. Wherever there will be path loss, it will be automatically switched to a different beam. So in fact, actually, this is a kind of a new advancement for the advanced antenna system, where with the same spectrum, they are giving more throughput. Yeah, yes, with all this technology breakthrough, it is not very easy. While having said this, many researchers, they are doing days and night for the last 4 to 5 years to arrive on this. And again, the standard body, and again also people are on research for advanced antenna as well as the QAMs, and for the MIMO, most of the R&D people, they are spending good amount, hefty amounts to be the players, coming to the players for the 5G. So this is actually one, in fact, one of the technology aspect in the PESTEL model. So here, coming to the economic impact. So in the PESTEL, we have one like as economic. So economic impact will give us the business potential of the 5G. So if you see my second graph in the right side, if you see again, impact of my okay. So so in the right side, if you see without the 5G, if the current trend continue, then the operator will have a 1.5% CAGR, like cumulative accumulated growth rate. So if, and with the addition of the 5G, because whenever initially we are saying, whenever we are targeting the 5G, 4G, 4.5 and targeting, so we are addressing more and more machines. So whenever and more things are getting added, so that is giving additional revenue to the operators. So here, if you see more and more, so it is a kind of 3.3 trillion. So starting from 2016, this is basically a study done jointly from the Ericsson as well as Arthur D. Little. So Arthur D. Little is a kind of consulting firm. So they have taken many samples, and they have actually characterized that with this around 13.3 CAGR we can get with the additional amount with the help of 5G. And here in the left, if you see, so it is a kind of the additional, it is a kind of around maybe $600 billion. So that is a kind of additional revenue we are getting for 5G as projected for 2026. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, here it is the same study, but they have given the fragmentation, like which services will be benefited, what amount and percentage. See, 20%, the energy and utilities. So those are basically the highly impacted, because in energy and utilities, machines are more, robots are more. So it is basically the Internet of Things. So it will be more. So around 20% of this additional revenue that are targeted for the energy segment, whereas the 6%, the financial services, it will be affected 6%. So in between, you can see the automotive, public transport, media, healthcare, public safety, everywhere. So this is the how actually 1.3 trillion dollar, how it is divided, and their projected revenue streams for the operator, and the impact of the 5G it will be bringing till 2026. So the very next the very next one is connectivity. So if we look for this value chain, then this is a very 2 or 3 value chain we have divided. Like first, any operator who is giving only connectivity to the infrastructure, and so the second value chain is coming, they are doing connectivity, they are providing connectivity as well as service enablement. And the third category who are like providing all the three services. So if you see and their percentage here, so here if you add it up, it is again coming 1 point almost 1.233. I am telling it as a roughly 1.3 trillion dollars. So here if you come to our Indian scenario, so what I can see is the third category operator addressable market for the service creator. So what I can foresee is the Reliance Jio, they might they might be coming, they might be falling in this category. And I am 100% sure whatever the projected numbers it is mentioned, it will be manifold than whatever it is. So this is one of the economic impact. This is 2026, but here I am just sharing the study shared by the IHS Markit. If any one of you are interested, they are also into the market research company, IHS. So they have given this study that there will be the total will be $12.3 trillion. So here, year on year, since 2020, it is the beginning of the commercial version of 5G. So they have given the different like 163 billion dollars for 2020 to $223 billion for 2035. So the cumulative and here which country they will be getting. If you see, again, I am saddened by this fact that India is not there. So if you see the United States, they will generate the additional revenue of $719 billion with a additional employment of 3.4 million, because whatever the technology and whenever we say that the economic impact, because that economic impact we can come to, I mean, this million jobs, it is affecting to the social sector as well. So we can discuss in social framework. So here, if you see, uh, the biggest beneficiary, if you see, then it is just China, which is having $984 billion with a employment of 9.5 million people. And if you see, then South Korea, they have got a pie of $120 billion. So in fact, whenever we say this, this is a kind of the market research company, they have projected this revenue count, but it's a kind of, I can say, plus minus 10% here and there. Otherwise, it's a kind of the projections are almost same. And here, if you see the fragmented category, if you see the fragmented category here, then for the manufacturing has got the biggest amount of chunk, 3.4 trillion dollar till 2035. But here, if you see this study, it is particularly for the 2026, and this is basically they have projected it to next 15 years, 2035. But see the enormous potentiality whenever we are giving the connectivity. So once we are, the connectivity medium is the primary medium on which you can develop your application, you can develop your app, you can develop anything. And the Internet of Things, it is going in that way. So for the 5G revolution, it is always taking the license spectrum, plus the technology is also enabling to get actually from the unlicensed spectrum as well. So here it is a kind of economic impact as well as social impact. How can it create jobs as well, additional jobs, and many millions jobs you have seen. So here in China, 9.5 million jobs additional they are getting, as well as if you see in the US, they are getting 3.5 million jobs. So coming to the social impact in the pastel model. So it is the consumer behaviors. Let me just start with from here, like what consumers they expect it from the 5G. So 86%. So this is a survey kind of around 6,000 people around the world. They have done the survey. So where 86% they need faster connectivity. So this is the representation of the consumers what they want. And 50% they like to purchase a phone that supports 5G. And the first three regions, the top three regions for the 5G, their perceived speed is 10x faster, it is 10x quicker, and it is cost-effective data plans. So this is the consumer behavior and the social impact of how it is a perception. And we have seen that it is generating millions of jobs as well. And here, what is there for, from this projection, it is again the consumer, the mobility report from the GSMA, and this is from the Ericsson. If you see the growth projections for 2G, 3G, and 4G and 5G. So from this graph, it is sure that the 2G, it is just going to die. And the next incremental, the growth is, this is the 4G, it is going to sustain. And from the for the 5G perspective, since the commercialization and the standards will complete at 2020, so it will start a slow growth. I hope you can hear me, everyone. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you very well.
Okay. Because something was fluctuating, while talking. Okay, very good. So here it is a slow growth at the start, and we have seen actually the subscriber projections. So these 5G subscriber projections are definitely, human as well as the machines. So I'll just show you the next slide. So here. So we have a potential from 2022, we have the potential users for these LTE, as well as we have potential users for the 5G. So this is basically the social impact, and how it is impacting, and basically what the operators, they will be benefited, why the operators they are interested for the 5G, and what technical requirements they just need. So it is basically they just wanted to try the multiple input, multiple output MIMO as the advanced antenna. So they are interested to give additional connections for the device to device and machine to machine connectivity. And they want actually their network to be shifted, or their legacy network to be transferred to the virtual network functions, and they want to host this thing to the clouds. And of course, they want the advancement of technology disruptions in the network slicing, and they want to experiment on the cloud RAN, distributed RAN, and the virtualized RAN. And they want actually to take the help of the mobile edge computing, and of course the advanced beamforming antennas. So these are basically, but majority they have, the Ericsson people, they have done a survey, in the Mobile World Congress at US. So 82% of most of these like CTOs, they are saying they just want to go ahead with the MIMO. So MIMO is their first choice, because massive MIMO will give 1 Gbps speed, which is a kind of low-hanging fruit. So coming to the next graph here, if you see, we have done the survey for in 2016 as well as 2017. If you see, 2016, 32% were ready to take trial, but in 2017, most of them, they have made up, or they have already started the trials, 78%. So in fact, what we perceive that 2018 some standards will be there, POC will be complete, but we expect that it should be much early. So in fact, we are around quarter 4 for 2017, and already 4-5 trials which I am very much aware, particularly in the UK market, the Vodafone, we have already engaged for the 5G trial, which is in fact in a full swing. And I can say that a lot of actually operators, they have started, and you can see with the survey, like almost 80% of the CTO, they want their networks to be 5G ready, and they want the POC to happen. So here, maybe a little bit of differentiation you can find. The strategy in 2016. So all these chief strategy officers, they said they have a clear strategy in 2017 versus where they were not actually, in fact, not ready for the 5G trials. So this is a kind of like most of the chief strategy officers and chief technology officers of big like MNO and the CSPs, they are actually very much, in fact, to do a trial. Again, this I have already shown you. So this is a kind of like how the social impact. So it is a 3.3 trillion dollar additional business it is giving, and it is giving multi-millions of jobs as well. And it is in the it has additional 34% of additional source of revenue for the operators, and most of the operators, they are trying to start the POC by now. So this is the social impact. Then we will be just discussing this environmental impact. So environmental, it is basically nothing but our industry use cases. Here we have basically characteristically, we have done two types of industry. So here, ultra reliable, very low latency. So whenever having said that, the latency figure of less than 1 millisecond is required. You see there is a remote surgery. You see there is a remote surgery here. So some of these doctors, renowned doctors, maybe you can see like US, or who are more actually advanced like UK, those doctors, they are doing a remote surgery and robotic surgery for a small village small village. So without the connectivity, you cannot really do that. And it is not without connectivity, because the the latency should be very, very minimal. And you can see for whenever the driverless cars, and many actually remote manufacturing, remote grid functions. So this type of critical machine type connection are very much sensitive towards latency. So latency means at least not more than 1 or 2 millisecond is actually we cannot tolerate. This cannot be sustainable. So here versus whenever we coming to the left side, this is basically a latency sensitive. It will be okay whenever we are doing the smart metering, whenever we are doing the smart agriculture, the SIP, smart tracking, asset tracking, and all those logistics where these are very, very the connectedness is very much important. The availability should be 99.9999. Absolutely 100%. It is required, but the data, the latency, the throughputs, and whatever we say, it will be less sensitive this left side. So, and again, whenever we are saying the third category, it is a enhanced mobile broadband, or we can say extreme mobile broadband. For the 5G, they are telling eMBB. So here we have the smartphones. We have actually the augmented reality, virtual reality. We have all the media broadcasting, and we have all these video transfer mechanisms, and we have actually the provisions of eSIM. So these are definitely the categories. So for the 5G category, it is basically the three types. The first type is critical machine type communication. So which the very, very ultra low latency is required. This is massive machine type communicate. So where it is somewhat sensible for the latency is not a very bigger requirement here. And here it is extreme mobile broadband services for media, AR, VR, and for the smart home and all these suites. So this is a kind of typical industry use cases, and this is the business environment it is giving for during the evolution to the 5G. So, and maybe very actually specific, if you come to the media and entertainment, yes, 5G will enable them. It is, I mean, in fact, actually, the 4G is also giving enablement, but 5G will empower them more. And these are some of this industry, which is also part of this industry. It is covered. So this is the environmental framework for the Pestle. And we are coming to the last framework for the Pestle model, which is legal. So the legal and standard body, whenever we say, so it is, in our case, it is 3GPP, third generation program, 3GPP. And also we have 5GPP, which is again by the same European people. ITSE, IEEE, and there are many industry association, ITU, the 5G America, there are autonomous 5G autonomous car. So there are various bodies, and in respective, definitely if you can come to our Indian scenario, then our spectrum authorities try. Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, and of course we have one industry lobbying system. It is CAOI, Cellular Association of India, where most of our operators. I'm not sure whether Geo is a part of it, but otherwise everyone operator there is a part of it. COI, you can get a lot of study materials. So they, I mean, so this legal aspect is basically the legal aspect is basically for the standards creations for the technology as well as a lobbying system. So this is the last aspect of our Pestle. So it is so in a summary, whenever we say we are just a small piece of like study, we can say small piece. I mean, whenever we have started revolutioning, I mean, from the connectivity from 1G, 2G, 3G, and we are converging towards 5G. So all our connected mediums are it is converging. So the traditional network approach and the legacy network approach we cannot adhere to. So we are moving all this, whenever we are moving towards 5G, we are moving towards the, I mean, the newer technology, and our traditional network is moving towards more or less into IT and clouds. So the traditional vendors such as Ericsson, Nokia, Huawei, ZTE, Samsung. So these are basically traditional, plus the Qualcomm and all those things are from the chip, I mean, from the device manufacturing, Telit, Intel, and maybe all those Qualcomm. So along with them, the major IT players, they are also coming to the competition here for whenever we are going for the 5G. In fact, whenever we say narrowly, I mean, this is a kind of strategic impact. So we should not, like whenever we do the Porter's 5 force, it is not only we see the competition in a narrow angle. The competition, whenever the competition is there, so that means the struggle is there. So whenever the competition is there, then we definitely move towards the collaboration, then towards a more meaningful impact in the business. So I can say actually here in Indian landscape, I mean telecom landscape, what actually we have seen, that there is a much of consolidation it is happening. Tata Teleservices has been closed down, and it has been, I mean, Bharti is the biggest gainer of it. You can say it is a collaboration. Then Uninar, I think, finally collaborated with Bharti. The Idea and Vodafone, it is a major collaboration. See how actually they are merging, so to create a major entity. So, and Reliance Jio, the technological disruptions, it is happening. So in the Indian landscape, this is a kind of like competition as well as the collaborations. So So my actually like 2 cents here is like whenever we are moving towards for the 5G, yes, traditional equipment manufacturer too, we are moving toward, I mean, many IT players uh, such as Oracle, Cisco, Jennifer, and a lot of actually Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they are also hosting, they have also their own networks. So whenever these people are coming, so more and more smarter and robust system is getting built up with less price. So in fact, it is a competition. But if you see in the larger extent, in the 5G, we are not actually talking about for the humans or mobile subscriptions. We are talking about additional revenues. So with whenever actually technology is getting disrupted, so it has got a major social impact as well. The people are getting less. The cost for of GB with actually the different 5G, it is reducing like anything. So the people are empowered to get whatever they want, and all the industry you can say is getting impacted. So the automation, robotics, and even if the remote surgery show, I mean, so many things. It is a kind of like connected worlds. So it is whenever we are moving towards 5G, and in fact 2035 and onward it will be 6G. So we are moving towards a connected world, and we are just like we are I mean what I can say. So the competition and collaboration always exist, and we should embrace the world not only with competition. We should embrace the world with collaboration. So that's my last word. So this is the conclusion I just wanted to draw from the OEM and from our equipment manufacturer. We can move towards from the 3X means it is 2G, 3G, and 4G to LTE Advanced. Can I be able to hear me? Let me. The video. Yeah, yes. So, and then we are moving towards cloudification, and we are moving towards standards and the 5G for the CSP for the operators. Then definitely they should have a good policy and lobbying system for a good spectrum. And they should start the POC at the earliest. They should have a robust business model. They should modify their business model according to these technology disruptions, and they should monetize it. And for the enterprise, anyway, all the enterprises, I hope, I mean, healthcare, starting from e-home, e-waste, everywhere. I mean, smart home and IoT sectors. So we have, I mean, the 5G is enablers. So with this, I would like to conclude, and if it is open for question and answer. Here I have got the first questions. It is, I think I have, what is the impact of higher spectrum uses on health, right? Okay. I think Kanwal, you can able to hear me and everyone, I hope.
Yeah.
Yes, Kanwal, what I can say, uh, it is whenever we say higher spectrum, yes, we have money to pay for it, but whenever we have higher spectrum and we are using the carrier aggregation, so we are getting actually a more throughput. Hope actually you might have seen I'll just show the latest. Yeah, so this is a slide. Maybe it is very much applicable to everyone if you see. So here actually in the remote surgery, definitely in the case of remote surgery, we cannot tolerate less than 1 millisecond. So that is a kind of in the healthcare if you really want to build. Otherwise, whatever that 108 service we are doing it currently in India, it has to be tracked, because if you see Uber and Ola, they have a GPS tracking system and they are tracking it. So I'm not sure whether they are actually tracking it or not. And also you can have actually like yesterday or the day before yesterday in the Economic Times, there was a good story where some 2 rupees they just started actually like delivering the services with like remote delivery of products. I hope with this, any question, please?
Yeah, can you throw some light on massive MIMO and millimeter waves, please?
Yes. Kishore sir, here, this slide, this explains actually the massive MIMO, where I mean, here actually we have just drawn one scale. This is the ultra low latency. Like here, I mean, this is not tolerable, but here in case it is tolerable of like a certain maybe 20, 30 milliseconds kind of thing. And the massive MIMO, we have actually like a smart metering, smart agriculture, and asset tracking, and etc. Yeah, yes, whenever you are particularly asking about the millimeter wave, sir, I can actually share you certain POC and certain cases what these Qualcomm people they have done. So they have actually developed certain because whenever we are talking about radio system, so we have physical layer, MAC layers, and the application layers. So in the physical layers and the MAC layers, they have developed certain logic. So where and the chipset accordingly, so that I mean the chipset particularly. So to avoid, because millimeter wave there is a lot of path loss will happen. In the millimeter wave there will be a lot of actually I mean you can the site densification will be more required. So I can share that complete study, that report from the Qualcomm site to you. So that's a very good study, in fact.
Thank you.
लेबर का 100 रुपया
Sorry, sir, I think I could not able to listen anything. So any questions here at the forum? You can. Otherwise, you can also reach me anytime. I mean, I mean the WhatsApp group, or you can actually reach me anytime in the email. So. So with this, I would like to conclude the session today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it's been an excellent session. I joined a little late, but it's been very, very informative.
Yeah, Samir, it has lots of very valid and useful information for researchers. Certainly, it helps us to get increased motivation on 5G.
Okay. Yes. I think Kishore sir, thank you very much, and Kanwal, Hans, thanks Kanwal, and thanks Ganesh also. So we can connect. But here, in fact, I can say, because Kishore sir and myself, we have already met once or twice for the IEEE seminar, and there is a whole lot of things to be said. But it is really very, I mean, I could really find it very, very hard. So I just tried to put everything in a condensed format. And in fact, actually, I just wanted in fact, a strategy, how we can actually apply strategy, the pastel strategy towards 5G. and you can actually make a use cases for yourself.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you.
Okay. So okay, so I can share this to Chintan, and I think Chintan will share to everyone. If you do not have any questions, so we can we just conclude the session today? And thank you for your for bearing with me, and thank you for this giving me the chance for a wonderful session, and thank you for your patience. Okay, thank you.